would introduce our speaker of the hour. You've known him longer than any of the rest of us.
All the way from Okinawa, Japan, en route to Houston to right there.
He hasn't been through the
Same old thing. Do you want the?
No.
No. You have to speak loud so everybody hears you.
Give them a mic because they're recording.
You guys hear me? What? Yeah.
Give them the mic.
Oh, come on, man. Where you need one of them?
All right, first off, I want to start by telling you all good morning. I've missed you, every one of you. I'm sorry that I had to come on these circumstances, of course. But still love you all and love seeing you. So. But it's weird. The Sunday before I found out about Amber, I actually went to church and I received a message from our chaplain, and it all went together along with the death and loss of Amber, helping me deal with losing her. I know. All right, if I lose it, just bear with me and try to understand me through the moment. But all right. One question that I know that everyone always asks herself is why? Why do things happen? Why does God take people that we care for, the ones we love? Why does He do that? Well, that question can't be answered. It doesn't need to be answered. That's just a question that we don't need to dwell on and ask God, because we just have to stay strong in our faith. And that's what I'm going to be preaching on this morning, actually. I'm going to be preaching on the story of Job. So if you would like, you can turn to your Bibles, Job 1 through 20. There was a man in the land of Uz. His name was Job, and that man was blameless and upright, and one who feared God and shunned evil. And 7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. Also in his possession were 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and 500 large households. Or a very large household, sorry. So that this man was the greatest of all the people of the East. So right off the bat, what do we know about Job? He has pretty much everything. He was one of the richest man back in that day. He had everything you can ask for. A big family, ox, everything to take care of his land. Next it says, and his sons would go and feast in their houses, each on his appointed day, and would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. So it was when the days of feasting had run their course that Job would send and sanctify them, and he then rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus Job did regularly. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. And the Lord said to Satan, from where do you come? So Satan answered the Lord and said, from going from going and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and shuns evil? So Satan answered the Lord and said, does Job fear God or for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him, around his household?
Hedge around him,
Hmm?
hedge around him and his household.
And around all that he has on every side. You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But now stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. And the Lord said to Satan, behold, all that he has is in your power. Only do not lay a hand on his person. So Satan went out from his presence of the Lord. Now there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And a messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them, when the Sabeans raided them and took them away. Indeed, they have killed the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, the fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 bands, raided the camels and took them away, yes, and killed the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And suddenly a great wind came from across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house. And it fell on the young people, and they are dead, and I alone have escaped to tell you. Then Job arose, tore his robe, and shaved his head, and he fell to the ground and worshipped. And he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And all of this Job did not sin, nor charge God with wrong. Well, this meant a lot to me, because Anna to me was a blessing. And she's done a lot for all of us in many different ways. And God gave Amber to us. God allowed her to be taken away. Though we don't know why he had her taken away, there's a reason. And we can't dwell on why it happened. So that's one way to look at it. And then now I also received the story. That was the verse in the chapter that I received from church. I just want to read that to you. And then I got a story too. Like that. The story I got was I don't know what it was. Mom and Justin. And the story is there was a young boy. He went to this farm trying to apply for a job for this farmer. The farmer looked at the boy. He said, he asked the boy, he's like, well, what are your skills? What are you good at? The boy just looked at the farmer. He's like, I can sleep in the windows. The farmer looked at him, but he kind of liked the boy, so he gave the boy the job. So that following night, the farmer was awakened, him and his wife was awakened in the middle of the night by a storm. Like a tornado, strong winds blowing the house, farmer went outside. He went outside, went to the shed, seen all the tools had been put up in there, all secured and locked up so they couldn't blow around. He went out to the barn and seen that the tractor and all the cattle had been brought in and locked up so they couldn't get it away by the storm. Seen that. The boy locked up the windows and everything at the house to make sure nothing could happen with that. And then they went back in the house to try to find out what the boy was. They walked in the room and the boy was in the bed sleeping. I see this as this is like a small comparison because this is like our relationship with God is that's how it needs to be. We need to be able to sleep when the wind blows. We need to be able to be prepared when things like this happen. And when that way, when we do lose people we love, or we do bad things happen or trials are presented to us in our life, we know how to move on. And if they don't bring us down, we can push forward and help those who haven't secured their relationship with God and help them to become stronger and be there for them. So, yeah, a lot. So that's one thing. So yes, why? Everyone in here can question why. Don't question God why He took Andy from us, because He took her for us. You're going to question yourself why. You're going to question yourself why. Why is my relationship with God not secured to the point where I can be there for my loved ones? No, I'm not being that in a bad way. So don't take that me. That's one thing you can do. But, so, the point of all that was prepare yourself for the tough times in order to react as Job. So, pray, listen, secure your relationship with God, and stay strong in the Lord and your faith in the Lord, no matter the trials. I used to, I know when I was in Iraq, I used to tell everybody, they used to tell me, we're not on mission before. Are you scared? I'm like, no, I'm not. I put an S on my chest. It's like, I was invincible. Well, I don't have a lot of fears. One thing I do fear is my family's well-being and my friends' well-being and the people I care for's well-being. They're going back home. And there's no putting an S on your chest when you lose someone. Be careful. But that's why we all got each other. And we're here for everybody. So, if you, that's really what I have. But if you take what you take from this sermon, or my word, I know it's short, but it was just, I got this. Got to the point I want to get to. But if what you take is, you gotta stay strong. Even time we're here. And, she didn't knock me. She wasn't taken from us forever. She served a great purpose. And she made a big difference in my life. Big difference. And I'll cherish the time I was giving with her. Now I'm gonna cherish the time that I might have with her when I go. That's all.